Welcome back to the Sports Sesh podcast. I'm your host, Mason Shatwell, and my co-host, James Evans, is joining us today. And we're here for our 49th episode. We're getting closer to that 50, which will be our next one. And it looks like it's going to be on the anniversary of 1 year of the podcast this Saturday.
It's crazy to think it, isn't it, though? Yeah, a year on.
A year already. It's gone quick. We've had so many guests on already. And I don't think there's been one episode that I've not enjoyed filming with the guys that we've spoke with.
No, 100%. And obviously here's to another bloody 50 episodes. And hopefully, we might be able to get that achieved, the 100 point, in less than a year or so, considering how active we can be on our day. If we can get more interviews and guests over the summer, that'd be huge for us. And hopefully we're always thinking of new ways in which we could sort of expand the podcast and expand our content. But yeah, we've got a good future lined up in store for us.
100%. We'll be talking about the year and 50 episodes, everything to do with that come Saturday. But we're here today, Euro 2020. Well, it's happening in 2021 now, but it kicks off this Friday.
Just change it.
It kicks off this Friday. I can't wait. Football's coming home, James.
That's why I've got the three-line shirt on, mate, the replica 1990 World Cup shirt. I know we got knocked out in the semis in that tournament, but who knows? Maybe in this tournament we can go that extra mile and extra step and make it to the final. And who knows? Maybe we could win. But I'm very much looking forward to it. But you look at the two games against Austria and Romania; they don't really fill me with confidence. Granted that was probably our second string team, but I think next Sunday is a real test as to where we're at in a way. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, and hopefully, football does come home this summer.
Well, are you going to be taking any advice from our friend Arch and chucking a cheeky bet on it?
Yeah, I might have to be honest with you. I might stay away from England because I'll probably jinx it. So I'll probably look at the sort of the underdogs and the dark horses of the tournament just to stake a bit of money on and maybe predict the top goal scorer of the tournament and those sort of bets and all that. So I don't really want to take a punt on England because I know we'll probably get knocked out in some brutal fashion. So I'm going to stay away from Gareth Southgate's side.
Yeah, I'm sure we won't hear the end of it from Archie. That is to happen. But anyway, kicks off this Friday. Like you said, England play Sunday against Croatia, our first game.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the first game of the tournament for the start of it, how do you see the England-Croatia game going? I think it depends who we feel, because obviously, like you said, the games against Austria and Romania, we didn't play top notch, but we didn't play our top team. And before I talk about the game, one thing that left me kind of scratching my head as to why is Jesse Lingard's left out of the squad. 4 right backs he was going to take.
What, you wanted just Lingard in?
Just because of how he played with West Ham at the end of second half of the season.
He died off towards the end of the season a bit, mate. If I'm going to be honest, if I've had this discussion with my mates, when you look at it, the reason why he's probably gone for Ben White is because Gareth Southgate is not confident with regards to the fitness of Harry Maguire. Personally, you look at Harry Maguire right now, I can't see him starting a group game against either Croatia, Czech Republic, or Scotland. I genuinely can't see it because look at Jordan Henderson. Obviously, he's come back from injury, but he managed to play 45 minutes last weekend. So there's probably some slight concerns with regards to Jordan Henderson, but I think he'll be fit for the opening game. Whereas you look at Harry Maguire, if he was fully fit or 60, 70% fit, he would have played one of the two games at least half an hour or so. So the reason why he's gone for Ben White is just to sort of add the extra centre back. But I wouldn't have taken, if Harry Maguire was fit, I wouldn't have taken Ben White. I would have taken James Ward-Prowse. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of Jesse Lingard. I know he scored 10 goals or so in his second half of the season at West Ham, but that was the second half of the season. And I know Gareth Southgate loves Jesse Lingard because he had a couple of runs in the squad in the 2018 World Cup. Did okay, I guess, but times have changed. We've got a stronger team. I think there's better players than Lingard, and that ship has sailed with Jesse Lingard. I don't think he'll be forcing his way into the team anytime soon. James Ward-Prowse, you look at the depth we've got in midfield. We've only got 5 midfielders. Now, if we're going to play 3 out-and-out midfielders, if you know what I mean, in total, that leaves 2 extra players on the bench. all it takes is an injury or two from that position for us to for the team and the selection to go tits up, really, if you know what I mean. So I would have taken Ward-Prowse just to add that little bit of depth in midfield. And I'm a big fan of James Ward-Prowse. He's Mr. Consistent for Southampton. I think he goes under the radar a bit just because he plays for Southampton. If you stick him in a bigger squad, you'll realise how important he is and how integral he is to any team's midfield. From a dead ball situation, he is second to none. You stick him on with like 25 minutes to go, he's guaranteed to score a free kick maybe, or put in some good corners in. And from midfield, you look at his game, the last game against Romania, I think he was man of the match. I mean, he controlled the midfield, he dictated play very well, he was very composed in his passing, he got the players up the pitch. And I think that was a bit of a, after the game where obviously he went up to Ben White and said, look, you'll be in for next week's squad and the permanent squad going forward for the Euros. But I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for Gareth Southgate. You know, looking forward for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Like, James Ward-Prowse will definitely be in contention. And I was very gutted to see him omitted from the squad. But Croatia on Sunday, I mean, I don't know. I'm still tossing and turning with regards to who I'd start. But I think you look at Croatia, we're going to do one over them because of how they performed and their result in the World Cup in the semi-finals. We're definitely going to get one over them, I think, but it'll be tough. You look at Croatia, their squad is not what it was. You know, a couple of players have retired from the World Cup, and Modric, they've still got a very good and strong, capable midfield. But you look at Modric, he's like 35, 36, he's aging, and you've also got Mateo Kovacic and Brozovic from Inter Milan. So they've got players in that position, but I don't think they'll provide that much of a threat compared to what they did in the 2018 World Cup, although I still think it'll be a tight game because it's England. We're not going to walk teams over. We're just going to make it very hard for ourselves. So I'm slightly confident going into Sunday. I think if we play the strongest 11, we should be able to get the job done over Croatia.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, obviously, if we go back to the Austria and Romania games, and again, it was a second squad pretty much from England because we want to rest these players and make sure they are fully fit for the Euros. And with Croatia, like you said, they've not got the star power. Well, they've got the star power, but they've not got the players aren't up to the level they was 3 years ago in the World Cup. And I think that may be downfall for them just because obviously the guys are aging. Like you said, Modric's 34, 35. So he's getting on a bit, and I think, to be honest, I've said this past week, what I'm expecting from England is, basing on how we've played recently, a draw with Croatia and a win against Scotland and Czech Republic. That's my prediction. And with that, obviously, we'll go through to knockout stages. But the knockout stages, I am worried about that. If we win our group, obviously we face the runner-up of Group B, is it?
Group F with Germany, France, and Portugal.
Yeah. And to be honest, no disrespect to Hungary, but they're not getting second place.
You never know. I'd like it if they did.
Oh, I'd love it because it'd be a lot easier for us, but I see us facing one of the big dogs. Yeah,
I think when you look at those three teams out of Germany, France, and Portugal, the only team I'm really confident is that we could beat is Germany. Maybe Portugal as well, but I mean, I want to avoid France completely because going into the tournament, I know for a brief spell they were going to be without Karim Benzema. And even without Karim Benzema, they're still probably going to be favourites or thereabout, but I still believe we could have beaten them. But when you add Karim Benzema into that squad, I mean, it just takes them that one step further. And I'm pretty confident that if they perform like they did in the 2018 World Cup and to their fullest potential, I can guarantee they'll probably walk this European Championships because they've got a talented squad from the defence all the way up into the attack. And Didier Deschamps seems to get the best out of these individuals. So Karim Benzema just seems to take the side that little bit step further. And again, you just can't fault the French squad. I mean, they're talented on their day. They're world champions. Portugal will probably be dark horses, but I'm still confident that we could get the job done over them. But I mean, you just never know in this day and age.
Well, I'm not going to go on about every single game in the Euros, but I want to get your thoughts on what you're thinking about England and Scotland come a week Friday, I believe.
Yeah. Again, we should beat them. We have to go out and beat them, but it will be tough because this is their first tournament in a long time, like 20 odd years or so, and they're in the same group as England. They're going to want to do one over us. I think last time we played them in a major tournament was at Euro '96, where you saw that magnificent strike from Gascoigne, and we need those in that type of game and that type of fixture. And with regards to the history of the two nations, you need a Gaza-like moment in that game, because a Gaza-like moment in that game can turn the game around completely in our favour, obviously, if we get that moment, if we get that goal. So they're going to be up for it. I know Scotland's team on paper is bang average. They should finish bottom. But, I mean, they know the Premier League. Their players have played in the Premier League. Some of them are even teammates with a lot of the English players. So they're going to know each and everyone's games. So it's going to be a very tough game. Scotland are going to be up for it because essentially it's like their World Cup final. I mean, beating England, it doesn't get much better for them, because I know from their sort of perspective and the Scotland fans' perspective, they're not going to do well. They're not expecting too much from this team because, like I said, it's bang average squad. They're not going to win it. But even if they finish bottom and still beat England, they'll probably still regard that as a successful tournament. So we need to go out there and absolutely tear them a new one, because we cannot lose to Scotland. And I am confident in that fixture. I genuinely think we can beat them, but it will be tough. Like, people will probably predicting like a 4-0 England. I don't think it will be that big of a scoreline, because they've got a very strong, consistent defence, and Kieran Tierney, Andy Robertson, and all these other star-studded names who have played in the Premier League, who have played in the Championship, who have played Champions League football. So it's going to be tough to break them down, but I think we will ultimately get, maybe a 2-0 or maybe even a 3-1 win. So, yeah, we need to beat Scotland.
Well, yeah, I don't see us losing or even drawing with Scotland, to be honest. No disrespect to them, but we should walk the game with the players we've got. We should walk it, but as we know, they're a scrappy side. England always make it difficult for ourselves as well. So I see 1-0, maybe 2-0 win. I don't see it being 4-0 or anything like that. But apart from that, this year's Euros looks like it could be a real banger in terms of some of the games we're going to get. Just look at the obviously Group F, Portugal, Germany, France, and Hungary in there. There's going to be some. I think that's going to be the group that you're going to have to watch the most as a neutral, to be honest.
I mean, essentially, it's the group of death for Hungary. I think there's two group of deaths for two particular teams. I'm looking at Hungary and I'm looking at Wales. With Hungary, I guess the one thing they've got going for them is that they'll play all their groups games at home. But again, home advantage doesn't mean anything because there won't be any fans there. I think maybe against Hungary, it'll be the chance for the France, Germanys and Portugals to rest their key men ahead of other bigger games in the group, obviously, with no disrespect to Hungary. They've got some talented players, but it's probably going to be a bit of a whitewash for them, and they'll probably ultimately end up finishing bottom. I don't know. It's tough to predict a winner in terms of who will finish top of that group because it's just so open with those three teams. And you look at Group A with Wales, it's kind of a group of death with them, as I alluded to earlier, because they've got Italy, Switzerland, and Turkey. And I think that sort of plays into Wales's hands a bit. They'll definitely reap the rewards because they're the underdogs. Many people expect them to get absolutely battered in all three games. And you look at Wales and their team and their passion and their drive in their last campaign in Euro 2016, their togetherness and that belief in that squad got them through the group stage. They gave us a good run for our money, and they got to the semi-finals where they were picked by Portugal when even Wales, they were missing a couple of their key men. So you've got to give them their dues. And going into this tournament, it's going to be tough, but the sort of them fulfilling that underdog role will certainly benefit them big time. But yeah, I'm thoroughly looking forward. I think those are the two will be the group of deaths with regards to Hungary. I can't see them picking up a single point, if I'm going to be honest, with no disrespect. They've got some good players. Obviously, I'm looking at Szoboszlai of RB Leipzig. They've got a solid defence, and looking at Willy Orban in particular of Leipzig as well. So, I mean, it's just going to be a case of trying to keep Portugal, Germany, and France at bay for as long as possible. But like I said, I can't see them getting anything.
No, well, I think we're covering quite a bit in the tournament, and if you had to give a prediction, obviously we're going to say we want England to win, but a realistic prediction. Well, to be fair, England's a realistic prediction because depending how we play, I think we can challenge with these top countries. It just depends how we play. But if not England, who do you think could win the Euros? My money would be on France.
Yeah, mine would be on France as well because, like I said, they've got a talented squad from top to bottom. They won the last major tournament in the World Cup in 2018, and they've got a similar squad, and they've improved it with adding Benzema to that squad. So, sensibly, you're probably going to lean towards France in this one because they're just so talented, and there's just no way in which I can't see them winning. But obviously, they've got a tough group. They've got to get out of that. If they get first place, then they're only going to get more sort of confidence going forward throughout the tournament, and that's going to be the deciding factor for the French and Didier Deschamps' team. If they can finish top, they'll have the confidence and the momentum and to sort of push on into the knockout stages and potentially go all the way. So, yeah, I think I'm probably going to go to France, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm not sure what else to talk about the Euros. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I was just sort of thinking, have a look at every single group in depth if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to sort of go through like key players and give your you don't have to give like a full prediction, but who do you think will finish first, second, and third, fourth in each group if you want?
Yeah. I'm just going to get the groups up now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so let's start Group A, Italy, Switzerland, Turkey and Wales. I'll let you go first on this one.
Obviously, Italy will open the campaign against Turkey, I believe. So with Mancini, personally, I think the Italian team will be the dark horses of this tournament. I think you look at their Euro 2016 campaign, they got knocked out against Germany on penalties, and they've sort of been very underwhelming in recent years. But since the arrival of Mancini, they're 25 matches unbeaten. They've got a solid squad. And I think when you look at their team, it's bang average on paper, but it's also filled with sort of these star-studded youth players, as well as their sort of strong, aging centre-backs who have also got that leadership skills to sort of help guide these young prospects and help them going forward throughout the camp and throughout the tournament. So there'll be one to look out for. I think most in particular is Manuel Locatelli from midfield for Italy. I think if they can get the best out of him, I think they will succeed through the group because with Locatelli, he will bring these wingers into play. He's got a very good eye for a pass. Like I said, he's got a very good ping on him. I think he'll help drive the team forward. I mean, they definitely need that. Maybe they're lacking that clinical striker who can put the ball in the back of the net. But I know I'm saying that. They got Ciro Immobile, but again, he's very hot and cold. You just don't know what to expect from Ciro on his day. But Manuel Locatelli will be key to breaking any team's defence in Group A. And you look at Turkey, they've got Burak Yilmaz and Yashi. They've got a very strong squad as well. With Burak Yilmaz playing for Lille this season, he's finished their top goal scorer and won the league with Lille. So he'll be one to watch. And he scored a hat ton of goals this season. So I think if Italy, obviously they'll be starting the likes of Chiellini, Bellucci, Turbi at the back. If they can keep Burak Yilmaz at bay, I wouldn't say it would be a walkover still for Italy because they've got the likes of Yashi from midfield, who's very creative. They've got other creative midfielders, but if they can stop Burak Yilmaz, they've probably got one hand on the 3 points already. So this is a very good game. And you look at Switzerland and Wales as well. Gareth Bale, if he can step up, because when you look at Wales in particular, it's essentially the Gareth Bale show. They're a one-man nation. I know, like I said, they've got that togetherness, but if Gareth Bale's performing, the whole team are performing, and that's when you tend to get the best out of the national team. maybe they're sort of suffering a bit from outside the training camp, because obviously you're a footballing fan, you know what's happening with Ryan Giggs right now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So he was originally supposed to take over the Euro 2020 campaign, but unfortunately he will not be in the dugout. I say unfortunately. We won't talk about his legal pursuits and all that jazz, so we'll move swiftly on. So they got a caretaker in for the tournament, and that could sort of dampen the mood a bit, because you obviously want Ryan Giggs as your main manager, and if you're bringing somebody else in from the assistant, from the backroom staff, it just sort of dampens the mood a bit, and it'll be interesting to see where they'll be at. But you look at Switzerland as well; they're a very strong team. On their day, they can give anyone a run for their money. And with Switzerland, you've got Nico Elvedi, who plays in the Bundesliga, does his trade there. From the back, I think if you're transitioning from the defence to the attack and from the defence to the midfield to the attack, I think Nico Elvedi is going to be very key. He's a defender who's got a very good eye for a pass, and I think if they're going to be playing up from the back with their keeper from Jan Sommer, I think Nico Elvedi is sort of going to be instrumental and a catalyst in pushing their team forward. So you look at Group A in total, I'm very, very much looking forward to it, because it's a very strong and a very versatile teams in there. And I think with Wales, they will struggle, but they could, like I said, they could give everyone a run for their money on their day if Gareth Bale's performing. But at the top of my head, with regards to who will finish where, I think Italy top, Switzerland second, Turkey third, Wales fourth.
Oh, well, I was going to say Italy, Wales, Switzerland, Turkey, if I was going to be honest.
But again, if they have that togetherness and if they're performing, they can beat anyone in that group. But I just think with everything that's going on behind the scenes, I don't know how. I just can't see them having a good tournament. But if they can finish third, obviously at 4 out of the 6 their best teams go through. So if they can finish third and like 4 or 5 points, they could sort of squeak through into the round of 16. But you just never know. But that's my early predictions. They have to get the win against Switzerland on Saturday, I believe it is. And if they can't, if they don't beat Switzerland on Saturday, I think it's game over. A draw's not good enough. They have to go out and get all 3 points in that one.
Yeah, well, that was my prediction. Group B, I'll go first for Group B, obviously.
Yeah.
Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Russia. Obviously, I don't think many people will dispute. I think Belgium's going to top the group.
Well, not Finland.
But to be honest, I think whoever wins the game between Denmark and Russia will be the second place team, to be honest. I think Belgium will win all 3 of their games, and I think Denmark and Russia will both beat Finland. And I think whoever wins out of Russia and Denmark will be coming in second place. And if I'm being honest, I'm going to guess Russia to get a second.
Really?
I'm going to guess Russia to get second.
That's a very bold prediction now. I'm going for Belgium, Denmark, Russia, and Finland. Obviously, we can all agree that Finland are going to finish bottom. Again, they're like a Wales. They're a bit of a one-man team. They're going to heavily rely on Thibaut Courtois this tournament. But you look at Belgium, there's a sort of unrest within the camp, because you look at Kevin De Bruyne. He came off injured in the Champions League final, and there's rumours as to whether or not he'll need surgery. But I don't know. I haven't seen any news, but I'm guessing he's in. So if Kevin De Bruyne does have his injury doubts in the Euros, you're probably going to look towards the likes of Romelu Lukaku and Eden Hazard, because Eden Hazard, on his day, he's a world-class talent. I know he's had his struggles at Real Madrid, but for Belgium, he tends to sort of step it up because it's a major tournament. And he has that real drive and that real determination and hunger to succeed for his country. But Romelu Lukaku, he'll be odds on to finish top goal scorer in the tournament. And I think early on, he's probably going to set the bar very high for Belgium. And if he can get scoring early on, again, it's going to be tough for any sort of defence in the European Championships coming up against Lukaku's. I think he was top goal scorer in the Serie A, and he's probably had the best season of his career. So it really will be tough. And I think Denmark, I can see him beating Russia, because you look at Russia's squad, they've got some good players in there. Artem Zhuba, Golovin and Cheryshev. I think if they're going to heavily rely on Artem Zhuba, but from midfield, they're obviously going to look towards Cheryshev and Golovin to create the chances. But with Denmark, they've got a very solid team, from goalkeeper and Kasper Schmeichel all the way to their attacking the likes of Christian Eriksen and Jonas Wind of Copenhagen. I think he'll be one to watch with regards to the young players. Denmark's Jonas Wind in this one. He's a young striker who's got a very good eye for a goal. I just can't see them losing to Russia. Russia have got a bang average squad. They've got an aging squad. I just can't see them beating Denmark. I think they're very strong on their day. Like, they could also be dark horses, the Danish, because on their day they've got that real drive, and just to sort of go out there and perform as a team. They have that team spirit and that character. I think they'll give Belgium a good game, but Belgium will ultimately come out on top in that one. So I'm going to go for Belgium, Denmark, Russia, and Finland, Group B.
Well, Group C, Austria, Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Ukraine. To be honest, I think Netherlands are going to top the group, but then I don't know. Austria, North Macedonia, and Ukraine. To be honest, I'm going to say North Macedonia to finish second, because they've had a few decent games. If I remember rightly, I'm sure they beat Germany a couple of months ago. And
they either beat them or drew to them, but they did get a good performance. They did get a good result against them.
Yeah, and then the last game, they played Kazakhstan. They won 4-0 in that. Then they played Slovenia, drew 1-1. But to be honest, I think if they can beat Austria in their first game and maybe get a draw out of Ukraine, they could get the second place finish, I think.
Yeah, that's a very bold prediction. Now, I think they'll finish bottom, but I think if North Macedonia are going to perform, they're going to have to sort of look up to Goran Pandev, who's just an experienced centre forward. He's been all over the block, and if I remember quickly at the top of my head, I'm going to have a look now, but I think he was in that Inter Milan winning season under Mourinho when they won the Champions League. Yeah. He won the Champions League at Inter Milan in 2010. So he's been around the block. He's got that experience playing at the highest level. So even at 37, he's still a goal scorer. I think he's still their captain. So with the Champions League winner in your nation, and with a nation like North Macedonia, who's just a tiny nation who no one expects to do well, you need a character like Goran Pandev in your team. So that's a very good shout. And I think you look at Austria, they've got a very good team. They've got a very strong team, but they never sort of turn it on in the major tournaments. And if they can get the best out of likes of David Alaba, Christoph Baumgartner, maybe they can perform well, but I don't have much faith in them. You look at Ukraine, I think they're probably going to look towards Roman Yarmolenchuk, who's only netted 4 times for his country in qualifying, but over the last couple of years in Belgium, he's netted over 50 goals in their league with Ghent. So if he's scoring for Ukraine, then I'm pretty sure they're probably going to do well. And you look at Holland, Donny van de Beek's been ruled out for the tournament, hasn't he, through injury? So that's a very, very, very good news to hear for the Dutch. Even though he hasn't played at all this season for United, he turns it on for his nation. But even without Donny van de Beek, you've still got the likes of Ryan Gravenberch of Ajax, who's a quality young player. I can see him going right to the top. Frankie de Jong of Barcelona from midfield, he's going to be integral to that team and sort of getting that midfield and transitioning from midfield to attack, and he can break any sort of defence with his good passing. And I'm looking forward to Donjan Malen from the Dutch league in PSV. He's a very young, hungry striker who knows where the goal is. He's very quick, very good with his feet. Both feet, weak foot, left foot and right foot, and I can see him scoring a fair few goals. I think they'll top the group, but you look at Holland without Virgil van Dijk, Donny van de Beek, they will struggle a bit because you look at their defence still, it's bang average, and I can see the likes of Ukraine and Austria exploiting those weaknesses in those gaps in the central defence. But ultimately, I think Holland will come out on top. With regards to seconds, I don't know. I'm probably going to lean towards Austria and Ukraine third, and then North Macedonia fourth. But obviously, you went for North Macedonia second. That's a very, very, very good shout.
Well, then Group D, we've spoke quite a bit about that. Croatia, Republic, England, Scotland. To be honest, I'm going to say England to top it, Croatia, Scotland, then Czech Republic, to be honest with you.
I'm probably going to go England, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Scotland. I can't see Scotland winning again this tournament. Maybe against Czech Republic, but You look at Czech Republic, they got a very good squad. Vasic in goal, Thomas Souček. It's West Ham FC. They got Thomas Souček and Kufau at right back, and Patrick Schick up top who can get the job done. So I think they'll probably finish third, Scotland bottom. Hopefully, there's nothing more I want to see than Scotland finishing bottom in a Euro major tournament.
Well, the next group B, the Poland, Slovakia, Spain, and Sweden. To be honest, I'm going to say Spain to top it, but then Poland, Slovakia, Sweden, I think.
Yeah, again, another very bold prediction. You look at Spain right now. I don't know if you've seen the news, but a lot of their players are self-isolating due to COVID and all that. So who knows if they can field a strong squad on the opening game. It'll be very interesting to see, because I know as of right now, 6 players are self-isolating, but I think maybe even more players are isolating now. So they're in a bit of a turmoil right now, and I think they will finish top. But you look at their squad, it's not as good as it was. You look at Spain, they'll be crying out for a player like Andres Iniesta, Xavi, David Villa, Carlos Puyol. I mean, you look at their squad now. Their midfield is solid, but that's literally just about it. With Thiago, Rodri Saul, and all those players, and you look at their defence, they've got no Ramos. I know he's been very poor this season for Real Madrid. He's had his injury struggles, but with regards to leadership, you need somebody like Ramos in your dressing room, because he's been there and done it. He's won Champions Leagues, he's won the European Championships, he's won World Cups. So to omit him from this final squad, it's a very big gamble. And again, like I said, they're not the squad they once were. So they'll probably, I don't see them going all the way, to be honest. They'll probably just squeak through the group stage. And Sweden, I think I would have gone for them in second had they had Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But now that they don't have Ibrahimovic, it's a bang average squad, and they're probably going to look towards Alexander Isak of Real Sociedad to score the goals. He's a big, lanky striker who knows where the net is. So if they can get him performing, I can see them doing well. But Poland is the Robert Lewandowski show, mate. I mean, they've got a good midfield in Zielinski, got a good keeper in Wojciech Szczesny, and they've got a reasonably solid defence. So if they can get the best out of Robert Lewandowski, I think they'll finish second. Slovakia, again, I'm mainly looking at Marek Hamsik if he's still playing. I think he is in the squad, so I think Marek Hamsik, a very quality player, he's been around the block for Napoli. He's a true leader and he's a true great midfielder of the game. So I think they might surprise a few, but at the top of my head, gun to my head, I'm going to go for Spain, Poland, Sweden, Slovakia.
Well, then the last group, the biggest group of death, France, Germany, Hungary, Portugal. I'm going to say Hungary's going to win the group. Nah, I'm only joking. I'm going to say, it's tough, this one. I'm going to say France to top it, and then Portugal, Germany, Hungary.
Yeah, I totally agree, which means we'll play Portugal. And, we've had our tough games against Portugal and the World Cup and the Euros. Obviously, look at World Cup 2006, the whole Ronaldo and Rooney fiasco, and we got knocked out on penalties. And I think it'll be the perfect opportunity to get one over Portugal. I just love to do one over Portugal, considering how the World Cup 2006 went down. But I'm in total agreement with you. I think now that France have Benzema within their ranks, obviously they've got likes of Antoine Griezmann, who always seems to perform for France, Kylian Mbappe and N'Golo Kante, Paul Pogba. They're just going to do the job over. It'll be a tough group, but I think I can see them getting at least minimum 6 to 7 points. Obviously, I can maybe see them winning all 3 games, but it'll be a tough one. It'll be so open. Germany, this is Löw's last tournament. Maybe they'll want to perform for the masses, but I can't see them doing well. I think they'll finish third with maybe like 4 or 5 points. And Portugal, with Cristiano Ronaldo in their team, anything can happen. I can see him being the top goal scorer this tournament, because I know Qatar 2022 will be his last international tournament. So essentially, this is his last final hurrah with regards to the European Championships. And let's not forget, the Portuguese are the reigning champions of the Euros. So they'll do their utmost best to defend their title and what have you. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you that one. I think France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary.
Well, either way, whoever wins it, whoever comes out on top, I'm sure this European Championship is going to be a banger. So have you got anything else to add now, James?
Tom, no, that's what I got for me, mate. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, well, everyone, obviously, like mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to be back on Saturday for the 1 year anniversary special of the podcast, and it will also be our 50th episode. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you Saturday, and thanks for tuning in.